Hello and welcome to the Business with Beers podcast. This episode is part of a new weekly series called Franchise Fridays, where every Friday we will have an episode dedicated to help you create freedom by owning a franchise. My family has been in the franchising business for over 45 years. My brother and I took our family franchised auto repair business and grew it from 6 locations to 30, now doing over $36 million a year in sales. And one of the best ways that you can accelerate your growth as a franchisee is to surround yourself with other successful entrepreneurs who are a couple steps ahead of you. And those who have W-2 jobs who are looking to buy a franchise, you need a confidential community to ask questions and get support. And I just launched a free private community for people who want to learn more about buying and operating franchises. You can go to brianbeers.com/community to learn more and join. Again, brianbeers.com/community to sign up. There's one thing I want to cover here before we get into today's franchising topic. And this episode marks a special milestone for me. It is the 100th episode of the Business with Beers podcast. I launched this in April of 2021 with 3 goals. Number 1 was to bring on guests to educate and inspire through their stories. Number 2 was to expand my network and relationships. And number 3 was to grow beyond my comfort zone. And I've achieved all 3 goals as I've hosted some awesome guests who've shared some truly inspiring stories. My network has significantly ballooned, and I know that it will only get bigger and better as I connect with more listeners and guests. And truthfully, I had some fears the first time I sat behind the mic, but I knew the only way I could improve was to get the reps in. 90% of people who start podcasts quit before 3 episodes. Another huge chunk quit after 20 episodes because they aren't hitting download goal, they get bored, they run out of guests, whatever the case. But I've had a lot of fun doing this, and I'm looking forward to the next 100 episodes. And one of the things that I learned about having a podcast is that it gives you a great excuse to convince some really interesting people to sit down and talk one-on-one. And if I was some random dude who wanted to set up a 30-minute call with someone, they'd be like, no, thank you. However, if I was some random dude who wanted to set up a 30-minute Zoom call, record it, and then broadcast it to the world, they'd be like, let's do it. So in the coming weeks, I'm excited to be interviewing 2 of my favorite authors. One of them I just got off right now with. It was Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, one of the best business books out there. So look for that podcast to drop in the next couple of weeks. And Steve Sims, the author of Blue Fishing, which is a book about the art of getting things done. It's a book about creating relationships and just how you can achieve some really awesome goals. So I'm excited to have share both of these conversations with you guys. So let's get into today's topic, which is why franchising. People ask me all the time, Brian, why do you own a franchise? Aren't you restricted? You have to follow all these rules. You have to pay a ton of money to the franchisor. Those are all true statements. Yes, you have to follow rules. Yes, you have to pay to play. So why do it? Well, the number one reason is when you buy a franchise, you get speed to scale. That owning a franchise puts you in the fast lane to start and grow a business. You turn decades into days, decades of someone else, trial and error, building systems, perfecting processes, creating a brand. They've taken decades to establish all that. You take it, and within days, you are trained how to run the business. You're given the playbook. You get to tack on to their brand and run your business under the name that someone else created. The other thing is, if you were to start your own business, you would most likely stay in your lane. You'd start with something that you're familiar of, which means you'd have extremely limited options. However, in franchising, you can get into a business that you know absolutely nothing about. Hair salon, auto repair, pizza, house cleaning, junk removal, senior care, pet care, just to name a few. And then within weeks, you will become an expert in operating the business because of the training and support that you will receive. Most franchisors do not want the franchisee anywhere near a wrench, a paintbrush, or a truck. They want the franchisee focused on hiring, on training, on sales, on team building, and creating relationships. So why franchise? Speed to scale. When you buy a franchise, you get a business model. So as part of that business model, they'll give you a sales process. They're going to tell you, this is who you talk to. This is how you talk to them. Here are our example service contracts. Here is a pricing guide to help maximize your sales, improve your close rate, and maximize your profitability. Here's an operations guide. This is basically a playbook on how you actually deliver the product or service. And they're going to give you everything you need to know to be successful. You are going to have an immense amount of training. The franchisor will train you for 3 to 4 weeks to start, both at the headquarters and then on site with other successful franchisees. They'll probably also have in-person training, video training, live training, written, tests and quizzes, everything to immerse you to understanding this business model. Many of them will leverage third-party relationships to assist in the growth. At Midas, for example, they have a partnership with Valvoline, which is an oil, distributor. Then Valvoline's trainers work with my guys to train them on the features and benefits of the products that they sell. So in that case, Midas is leveraging their relationship to help us at no cost. You also get the whole marketing suite. So you get a brand, you have the website, you get fed into a sales funnel. So they've already created a funnel. They know the playbook on how we get leads and how we close leads. And they've created a funnel, whether it's through SEO, whether it's digital, whether it's YouTube ads, or it's direct TV, or whatever it is. They already have a funnel, and you are just going to get tacked onto that funnel. And from day one, we'll probably start generating some opportunities for you. Many franchisors that have mobile-based businesses like residential cleaning or commercial cleaning, a lot of B2B have call centers in which the franchise, or as part of your franchise fees that you're paying, will run a call center. They will handle all the inbound leads that you get, and many of them will do outbound calls on your behalf to try to get you business. Depending on the model, many of those will actually close the sale based on the pricing guidelines that you give them. And so you don't even talk to the customer. And it's awesome. As long as they're good at closing the sales, it's awesome. And so there's lots of different options out there, because once again, they don't want you on the phone, making outbound calls or even taking inbound calls. If they can leverage their call center, they can do it. They can set you the meeting, and then you go on site and you close the deal, which is a lot more valuable. And finally, the community. When you become a franchisee, instantly you are part of a built-in community where franchisees want to help other franchisees. They want to learn from each other, best practices, challenges, opportunities, because all that increases the value of the brand, where the more success the franchisees have as a group, the higher the sales, the higher the profitability, the higher the brand rises in its perception, and thus the higher the increased value it will have one day when they go to sell it. And so all that makes the speed to scale. And so that sounds good, Brian, but can I make enough money? A lot of people think that, buying a franchise means you buy yourself a job. They call it, chuck in a truck, and people don't want that, right? But the truth is that you can run a franchise at any level that you want. And it is by no means one size fits all. So for some people, they are looking just for additional income. Maybe they have a full-time job that they love. Maybe they're a stay-at-home parent, or they're retired, and they want to work 10 to 20 hours a week at a variable schedule into this business. And they want to make maybe 50 grand, maybe 100 grand. They want low cost to start. They want low overhead. They want high margins. There are a ton of franchises out there that meet these qualifications that are worth somebody looking at. There's other people, though, who want to make a lot more than that, and they're committed. Maybe they have a full-time job and they're ready to transition out of it. They're tired of corporate politics, travel, missing out on time with family. There's a fear of the unknown, right? When you work for somebody else, you could lose your job at any point, is the truth of it. And if you are ready to go full into a franchise and run the thing from day one, there's a full spectrum of opportunities depending on your investment, your commitment, and your target income. So maybe year one, you run this thing, you're making 100 grand, maybe 200 grand if you're a good performer, but then you work to grow it. You start buying additional locations, you use cash flow to fund it, or you take on debt, you take on investors, whatever it is, and you start to build a business. And maybe you can turn that into $500,000 a year. Maybe you can turn it into $1 million a year. Totally possible. And then For a tiny sliver of people, you may want to turn a franchise business into an enterprise business across multiple states, hundreds of employees, if not thousands of employees. Personally, this is a space that we live in. I've grown our business with my brother from $6 million a year to now $36 million a year, and we'll continue to grow. There's other franchisees in the same space as us doing $150 million a year. So over 5 times, but their business doesn't look much different than mine. And I know that if they did it, I can do it, and I can learn from them. Because once you get the systems down, you can stamp out locations. Like, the challenge then becomes you as the owner become the bottleneck, and your willingness to take on risk, to grow outside your comfort zone, to hire people who are better and smarter than you, and to, let go of things. That is what holds you back once you get to this level. There's a great case study that I'll do a complete deep dive. It's called the Flynn Restaurant Group. They are the largest franchisee, doing $4 billion in sales. They have 2,300 franchise locations. I don't know them all, but I know they got Applebee's. I know they got Panera's and Taco Bell and KFC and a few more. 23,000 locations, 73,000 employees. And guess what? It started with 8 Applebee's. The guy started with a handful of locations. He took those and he started to buy more and then more and then more. And it's this hockey stick of growth. Talk about speed to scale, growing from 8 Applebee's to 2,300 locations. That would be very difficult outside of a franchise system. And I know most of you listening to this podcast are high achievers, and you will be successful in whatever you choose to do in life. And owning a franchise, it just puts you in the fast lane to achieve the goals. I know I might make it sound simple, but it is not easy. The key part of this is you have to be a great operator. You have to be able to grow beyond your comfort zone. You have to take risk. You have to surround yourself with the smart people. You have to make terrible mistakes. You have to lose money sometimes. You get sued. You have to make tough decisions, right? And all those principles, that applies to any business, not just franchising. But with a franchise, you do not have to go at it alone. You have a team of supporters who are in your corner who want to help you succeed. And if you are looking to have me in your corner, I'm working with a handful of clients every month to help them find the right franchise to buy. So if you are ready to create the freedom and build some wealth through franchising, please reach out to me. You can send me a message on Twitter at Brian Beers, LinkedIn, or you can email me, brian@beerspodcast.com. Tell me a little bit about yourself and why you are ready to jump in. Until next time, I hope that you take some time, you set some goals for yourself, and you think about this and think, is franchising the right choice? Will franchising get me in the fast lane to achieve my income goals, my time freedom goals, and will I enjoy doing it? And at the end of the day, you can make a franchise as small or as big as you want. It's really up to you. So I appreciate taking the time today, and I appreciate you listening. 100 episodes, big milestone for me, and I'm looking forward to the next 100. So I will see you next week. Cheers.